Hey guys, Buffer Game back today, bringing you a video. Today we're going over tactical weapons for Season 1, Part 1. This is going to be one of my ongoing series that I do here. So tactical weapons, we're going to go through a bunch of tactical weapon builds. I'll show them off here in the firing range and how they handle. So let's go ahead and we'll back out and jump right in. I have, I believe, 10 builds today that we'll get into here. So backing out, going to the gunsmith here in privates. First up, we're going to run the Mark 17. So Mark 17 or the Scar Heavy. You can see this build. Now, first off, I'm using a blueprint for this. This was available through the Season 1 Battle Pass called Mud and Guts. And what this does is, you can see here, it puts the laser attach. Well, it didn't work there, but it does put the laser attachment you can see there on the PEC 15 there on the top Picatinny rail instead of the right-hand side Picatinny rail. You can see it. Versus the others, it'll go on the right-hand side. So you can see that PEC 15 there on the top Picatinny rail. So makes it look that much cooler. You can actually see the laser in game. So that's what we're going to be running there. Going to the gunsmith here. For the muzzle ops, we're going to run that fat brake for the Scar. So there's going to give us we're going to go run the TY LR8 for the horizontal recoil control. Typically, the Scar, I noticed the horizontal recoil control is very heavy. So if you can make it so you really only need to pull down on it with the vertical, it'll be a lot easier to control in full auto. So this one's going to give us pretty good horizontal control, cons of the ADS speed and the aiming stability. Then we're going to run a PEC 15. This is going to be basically our tac laser from Modern Warfare 2019, the Ollie V laser. You're going to give us aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and sprint to fire speed, with the con being laser visible to enemies. And then we're going to run for the optic, the SZ Oscar 9. So this is going to give us that ACOG with that top mounted delta point on it. So we're going to have the 4 times magnification as well as that top mounted delta. Cons are very small sniper glint, aim down sight speed, and aim walking movement speed. So we'll go ahead and select that. And then for the buttstock option here, we're going to be running the brute stock. This is going to give us versus the base stock. You can see it's just a slightly different Scar boot stock there, going to give us the aim and stability and the recoil control, with the cons being the aim down sight speed, crouch movement speed, aim walking movement speed, and the sprint to fire speed. So you can see the difference there. This is really more of the classic Scar stock. We'll go ahead and put that on. And then obviously you can't run a Scar, specifically a Mark 17, without the bipod grip on it. So here we're going to run the bipod grip V9. This is going to give us the bipod mount, so the ability to mount it. Recoil steadiness. The cons here are the aim down sight speed, which we're making up for, or at least mitigating with that PEC 15 we have there on the top rail. So really cool build here. You can see the preview for the weapon, just a really sleek, sexy Scar build. And if we go ahead and back out and jump into the firing range of this thing, you can just see how it handles here. If I run it in full auto, you can see we're able to get shots pretty well on target here, at least down range. And again, we're only running the 20 round magazine here, so obviously we're going to need to reload quite a bit. But again, handles pretty well. You really just need to worry about the vertical recoil control for the most part here. We're taking care of the horizontal pretty well, and you can see it's actually very accurate for a 7.62 battle rifle in full auto. So this is a really nice build. 20 round magazine, obviously you may want to swap that out, but I think the 20 round magazine is much more viable in this game than it was in 2019. Even the 30 round magazine, because this thing hits really hard in the TTK, is definitely different. So this is our Mark 17, just a beautiful looking weapon. Standard edition, we're keeping that base 16-inch barrel there. Just a really tactical looking weapon. So we'll go ahead and back out and cover our next weapon here is going to be the AKS 74UM. So we'll go ahead, MN, I guess, technically we would call this thing. So if we jump in, we're going to select for the weapon is the assault rifle, the Cast-Off 74U or the AKS 74U. For the gunsmith options here, we're going to want that Zenical M-Lock rail here. So this is going to give us the short tack 330 millimeter for the recoil control, hip recoil control, bullet velocity, with the cons being movement speed, damage range, hip fire accuracy, and aim down sight speed. So we'll select that. Then for the muzzle attachment here, we're going to run that fat brake compensator combo. This is going to be the Fulcrum Pro. Going to give us vertical and horizontal recoil control, with the cons being ADS speed and aiming stability. And then for the grip here, we're going to run the EXF backdraft grip. This is going to give us hip fire accuracy, hip recoil control, aim walking steadiness, and recoil steadiness. Cons, hip walking speed, and aim down sight speed. Then for the grip option here, we're going to be running the Demo X2 grip for the recoil control, and the cons being the aiming stability. And then we're going to run the CZ SRO7 for precision sight picture and ADS speed. So you can see there, really nice weapon. Especially, I like it how it looks in full black. Especially, I love that M-lock rail system for the handguard on there with the top and bottom Picatinis on that. So we'll go ahead and back out. Unfortunately, the gunsmith here is a little fidgety. You got to back in and out to get into it, but here we go, jumping in for our AKS-74U. You can see just a great looking weapon. Very good to see some modern Russian AK builds available now in the game. Finally, so you can see great looking weapon. And again, pretty accurate. I was overcompensating there. So you can see this is obviously not something you want to engage at the 50-meter range, but you can still hit it pretty accurately with this. Just a great weapon. Very soft shooting once you get the recoil pattern down. I'm still overcompensating on a lot of my shots, but right there, pretty good. And the reload there, that Iraqi style reload, is pretty sweet. So that's our AKS-74U MN. And you can see, obviously, because the optic there, the N is standing for, the M is standing for modern, and the N is standing for the dovetail mount for the optic rail on the left-hand side there. So go ahead and back out, and we'll jump back into this. And unfortunately, sorry about this, guys. This is just a happens to be a bug with private matches to do these, so it'll kick you in and out. And especially if you're in the gunsmith here, you have to go back in to do it. So that's our AKS-74U. Go ahead and back out now, and we're gonna go over to the Sig Sauer MCX Virtus SBR. So short barrel rifle here. Great looking weapon. You can see we'll start with the M13B at base. For the optic, or excuse me, the laser here, we're going to run the VLK laser 7 milliwatt. This is going to give us the ADS speed, sprint to fire speed, aiming stability, and laser visible ADS is the con. It's just going to be visible when you're ADSing, so you just got to be careful about that. Basically the same thing as a tac laser. We're going to run the flip on this, so the DR582 hybrid sight. Going to give us that 4.8 magnification and the ability to swap to the holographic or the EOTech. Cons are very small glint, aim down sight speed, and aim walking movement speed. For the stock option, we're going to run that MCX stock. This is in the Bruin Flash V4 stock. Going to give us sprint to fire speed, aiming stability, crouch movement speed, aim down sight speed, and then the cons being aiming stability, recoil control. Then for the grip, we're going to run the D37 grip for additional recoil control. And then for the foregrip, we're going to be running that Magpul vertical foregrip. This is going to give us hip fire accuracy, aim walking steadiness, recoil steadiness, hip recoil control, with the cons being hip walking speed and aim down sight speed. So this is our MCX Virtus SBR from Sig Sauer. Again, another great looking weapon here, very tactical. Go ahead and back out and jump back into the gunsmith here so you guys can see this thing. For whatever reason, the gunsmith coming into privates is loading very slow today and maybe yesterday as well. But you can see there, love the inspect on that. Just let this thing rip. And then if we engage with the flip sight, so you can see, good weapon, not bad recoil. Definitely just got to pull down slightly on that. It does do a bit of a zigzag pattern, but again, the Sig Sauer MCX Virtus SBR. And then next up, we're going to be running the Alpha AK build here. So backing out, we'll go ahead and jump into this thing. So for this build here, we're going to be running the Cast-Off 545, which is the AK-105. And for this one, the barrel, we're going to be wanting the 342 milliwatt Socken KL. This is going to give us the modern M-lock type rail system. Same one we just saw with the AKS-74U. Unfortunately, it's not full length for the barrel. We'd want it more full length to get a real classic Alpha AK, but again, this is really the best we can do. Could do a modernized AK-74M, but this one, the barrel is longer. This is a 74 barrel. This is really the barrel we would want on this length of a barrel. But you can see here, movement speed, or the pros are going to be movement speed, aim down sight speed, and the cons are going to be bullet velocity and recoil control. Again, we're going to run that Fulcrum Pro just for that fat break combo. Then we're going to run this CZ Battle Optic. This is going to give us the precision sight picture, the con being aim down sight speed and movement speed, just a classic 1x red dot magnification. That Zenico buttstock here going to give us the crouch movement speed, sprint to fire speed, aiming down sight speed, and the recoil control being the con. And then we're going to run that backdraft grip yet again, because I personally love the way it looks on a lot of the weapons. So go ahead now, jump into the firing range here, and check out the Alpha AK build for the AK-105, firing 545 by... Here we go, 545 by 39 millimeter. So here you go, Alpha AK. I wish hopefully we'll get a blueprint down the road for more of a full-length rail system on this shorter barrel of the 105 build, but still shoots pretty flat. Unfortunately, my PlayStation is deciding to lag at the worst time, so I'm a little skippy, but still very accurate. Shoots very flat. That's the AK-105 or the Alpha AK build here for the Cast-Off 545. A lot of people say this weapon's really bad, but I mean, I've had nothing but good experiences with this gun. I've used it quite a bit in Warzone, especially in solos, and this is actually a very, very accurate weapon. So I would definitely recommend trying it. Great build here. Definitely give it a go. I don't know why everyone says it's the worst weapon, because I've had a lot of success with this thing. Actually, probably one of my favorite weapons of the game right now is this Cast-Off 545. So we'll go ahead and back out. Next up, we're going to be running the MP7A2. So for the MP7A2, we're going to run the Val 46. And for this one, we're going to run the Extend Black Kite suppressor. This is going to give us that Osprey suppressor, sound suppression, bullet velocity, recoil smoothness, and recoil control. Cons, ADS speed, aim walking speed, and aiming stability. And then we're going to run just a regular laser optic here. You can run whichever one you want. This one's mainly built for hipfire. Then we're going to run the battle optic again for that precision sight picture. Hollow point rounds of the 4.6 millimeter. Again, just because you could swap this out for an attachment, but I feel like for this, it would be appropriate for this SMG/PDW to run the hollow point rounds. And then we're going to run the Magpul vertical foregrip again, or the OPX9 foregrip, give you hip fire accuracy, aim walking steadiness, recoil steadiness, and hip recoil control. Go ahead and back out, and we will jump into the gunsmith with this. And take a look how it looks. Again, the MP7A2, firing that 4.6 by 30 millimeters, so really classified more as a PDW than it is an SMG, but still fits the bill for both, really. You can see there, love the inspect animation on this thing, and the Osprey suppressor on this looks really good. So let this thing rip for hip fire. Very accurate. And I love that you get the 40-round magazine at base here with the MP7A2. Definitely not accurate at these ranges, unfortunately. But there we go. Still, just a great weapon. MP7A2. Very nice, and the hipfire is surprisingly good with this build. Within, you can see this is the 10-meter range, so get up to it here. If it wants to stand still for me, so I can... Nope, it just wants to keep moving. Even at those ranges, like, we're hitting a lot of shots out of the 25-meter mark, so... MP7A2, great-looking weapon. Next up, we're going to run in the PP19 Vityaz. So the Vityaz here, we'll show it off, and then we'll go into the build here since I already have it out. Again, this is going to be firing 9x19 millimeter. This is a Russian, basically the replacement for the PP19 Bison. Has a really unique sound to it. And unfortunately, my PlayStation's not cooperating right now, so it's a little bit difficult to hit these longer shots with the lag. But you can see there, still a very nice looking weapon and handles really well. Unfortunately, because it's 9x19, obviously it's not going to have the stopping power of a rifle round. but it's still very accurate. So PP19 Vitesse, you can definitely put some different attachments on this, but just a really nice build of the 9x19mm Vitesse. So go ahead and back out. Here's the final design for this one. We're going to run the EXF Huntress 90. This is just going to be a suppressor for the sound suppression, bullet velocity, recoil smoothness, and recoil control. Cons, ADS speed, aiming stability, aim walking speed, and damage at range. Going to run that Ollie V laser again. We're going to run the Cobra optic for a 1x. We're going to run that mwII R7. This is the Zenico stock. You can see the crouch recoil, crouch movement speed, sprint to fire speed, aim down sight speed, with the cons being the recoil control. And then we're going to run, again, that Magpul vertical foregrip. So you can see the final design here. Very nice looking weapon. If you want to swap out some of the attachments, like you could go with a different, more of a Zenico type modernized looking barrel with this one here. This one also looks really, really good on this PP19 Vitesse as well. So that's the PP19 Vitesse. Go ahead and back out. And next up, we're going to run the last builds here. And then we'll move into part 2 next time, but we're going to run the Socken MG, or the NG7, and the Gave NG7. So this one, very similar to the build I showed off in its own separate video you can check out over on the channel. So we're on the TY LR8. This is going to give us the pros are horizontal recoil control, the cons are the ADS speed, and the aiming stability. The barrel option here, we're going to go with the short barrel. This is that aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, the cons being damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity. And then the optic, we're going to go with that Elcan Spectre for the 5x magnification. We're going to go with the SF stock on this thing for the recoil control, the cons being ADS speed and crouch movement speed. And then we're going to go with the Cronin WL55 grip there for the aiming stability, aim walking steadiness, and recoil control. And then this next one here is going to be the Vector. So the Chris Vector, we're going to run the Fennec Covert Force. This is going to give us the barrel attachment, which also works as the muzzle attachment. So it's going to give us that Osprey suppressor, the sound suppression, damage range, hip fire accuracy, and the bullet velocity, with the cons being the aim down sight speed and the hip recoil control. Going to run the this is the, again, similar to the TAC laser, just our aim down sight speed laser. Going to run the 4x flip on there, the 4.3x flip. Then we're going to run the FTAC Loctite stock for the crouch movement speed, sprint to fire speed, and aim down sight speed, with the cons being recoil control. And then we're going to run that vertical foregrip. So go ahead and jump into the gunsmith. Unfortunately, it didn't want to go in with the right weapon. So here we go. The NG7, the Gave NG7 SF. Fairly accurate weapon. Again, this thing, I haven't tried this particular build in Warzone quite yet. But, works really, really good in multiplayer and everything like that. Just a great weapon. Again, you get 7.62 by 51mm, hits like a truck, and the recoil really isn't that bad at all. So, pretty easy to control. That's the Gave NG7. Here we go with the Chris Vector. So, this one, only the 30-round mag. It's better than in Modern Warfare 2019. You started with a 20-round mag at the base, which was pretty crazy, because that thing, you would burn through it in like 2 seconds. So this one, at least 30-round, is a lot easier to use your ammo. And this one, you don't run out in 2 seconds. And unfortunately, that's the downside of private matches here, still giving us that trouble with things. So let's go ahead and we will jump back into the firing range and finish up with these two. So the Chris Vector, firing that 45 ACP. Definitely not built for those ranges for sure. The lag I'm getting on my PlayStation definitely isn't helping. But again, just a great weapon, very tactical looking, and in close range with the just the regular EOTech, much easier to control. This thing rips. So that's our tactical weapon series part 1 here for Modern Warfare 2. Let me know your thoughts down below. What's your favorite weapons that you like of this series, and what ones you want to see? Personally, my favorite is definitely going to have to be the Mark 17. I also like the AKS 74UMN, but the Mark 17, just always one of my favorite weapons, pretty much in any game. And it does take a lot of skill to use because of the heavy recoil on this thing, as it should have, because it's firing that 7.62 by 51mm. But you can see, even if we went to, you actually reduce the recoil with the red dots. So if you run that top mounted delta, it might be a little bit easier to control at some ranges, I've been noticing. But and the good thing is with this is that you can just mount this thing too. So when you are engaging in longer ranges like that, by mounting that bipod grip, it works really well. And if you're going to mount it in prone, remember you need to actually hit your mount button however you have that mapped, and it's going to mount that way. Unlike Modern Warfare 2019, where you could just go prone, that's no longer the case. If I'm going prone, that's not mounted on the bipod. I need to actually mount it, and then I'll get the more accurate version of the weapon. So, Tactical Weapon Series, Part 1 here. My favorite being the Mark 17 or the Scar Heavy. Let me know your thoughts down below. What's your favorite? What weapons do you want to see in the series going forward? Till next time, Buff Nerd Gaming, out.